Today I will share with you how to make chocolate at home from scratch using a wet grinder machine. This is Butterfly Smart. It has 2-liter bucket and 2 massive stones to grind the food. They sent me this plug converter because I live in America and this machine is made in India. But it was useless because to operate this machine, voltage supply should be 220. But in America, voltage supply is only 110. I had to purchase voltage transformer to operate this machine. Okay, now I'll show you how to make chocolate with this machine. We'll need cocoa butter, cocoa nibs, sugar, milk powder, and cocoa powder. I like to grind sugar and cocoa nibs first. You can skip this step, but this will move things a little faster. I'll shake it every 10 seconds or so and grind it for about 1 minute. This is how it looks at the end. Now I'll melt the cacao butter using double boiler method. You can't overheat cacao butter, so we're just trying to melt it. We're not trying to make it hot. When water underneath will heat up, the cacao butter will start to melt. I'll remove it from the heat when it looks like this because I'm not trying to make it hot, just melting the cacao butter. I'll pour the cacao butter first, and then I'll add the cacao nibs and sugar I grind with the food processor before. To cover the bucket, you can use foil wrap. But if you're using their plastic cover, make sure you take off the lock knob because it won't close all the way and chocolate will fly all the directions. Then add cacao powder. And because I'm making milk chocolate, I'm adding milk powder. Grind it for a few minutes until it's blended together. And then I'm gonna use fan to make the chocolate liquid. Chocolate heats up very fast, so make sure to rotate the heat flow and spin the stones every 10 seconds or so. See, the chocolate turned completely to liquid, and if I measure it, it's around 100 Fahrenheit. You should never let it go above 115. Now you're gonna cover it and grind for as long as you want. I recommend to do it for at least 2 hours, but the more the better. Chocolate will get very smooth, and here's a little test that you can do. Rub chocolate between your 2 fingers and you should feel no sugar crumbs at all. Now we're gonna temper the chocolate. We're gonna heat it up to 115. Make sure to not go over 120 Fahrenheit. Now when I measure it, it's 117 and that's perfect. Now I'm gonna cool it down to 81 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll be mixing it with a bench scraper and the air will cool it down. And you can see we got 81 degrees Fahrenheit, that's what we need. And then I'm gonna heat it up to 88 degrees Fahrenheit using a fan and mixing while heating up. It heats up very fast, so be careful. This is how I prepare the molds. I use rubbing alcohol and cotton rounds. I'll use the side with no hairs because we don't want any hairs to fall in the mold. Alcohol will break down any fat left from previous chocolate. And do this ahead of time, not when you're ready to pour the chocolate. Maybe there's an easier way, but I just use a bench scraper and I transfer the chocolate directly to the mold. Then you're gonna clean the edges and let chocolate set fully. I like to leave mine at room temperature overnight. I don't recommend to put it in the refrigerator. If I have more chocolate to work with, I will heat it up again to 88 degrees Fahrenheit and then transfer it to the mold. This is how I use the egg-shaped mold. I fill the egg with chocolate first and then I rotate the mold to fill in all the edges. Then flip over the mold and give it a shake to get rid of all the excess chocolate. And then use the bench scraper to clean the edges. As I said, I let the chocolate set at room temperature overnight and this is next morning. The chocolate comes out so easily. And this is my favorite. I also like to add nuts or dried fruit on top. You can put filling in bonbons. They're super fun to make. And now let's hear that snap sound. So good. I believe this is 55% chocolate and it's my favorite type of chocolate. I wrap them in foil sheets because they're thinner and they're easier to fold. and I store them at room temperature. And this is how I make chocolate with the stone grinder machine. This machine is very powerful. I do recommend it, but if you live in USA, then you'll need the voltage transformer. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.